Hello and welcome to Nacho Television. My name is Sauda Mganga. I'll bring to you our news headlines in a few minutes. Tunisia's first freely elected president, Beji Jadi Essebsi, died at the age of 92. He was the world's oldest sitting president and he was admitted at the hospital on Wednesday, but officials did not say why he was receiving treatment. Mr. Essebsi won Tunisia's first free elections in 2014 following Arab uprising across the region. He was admitted to the hospital last month after suffering what officials said was a severe health crisis. They gave no further details at that time. The video shows when he last met the president of Djibouti, President Ismail Omar Guelleh. Much of Western Europe is facing record-breaking temperatures again with a second heat wave in a month, which reached its peak on Thursday. A red alert was issued in northern France, with temperatures of 41 Celsius forecast in Paris. The UK reached 39 Celsius heat, and trains were ordered to run more slowly to stop rail trucks buckling in the heat. Belgium, Germany and Dutch temperature records were alerted that they could be broken for the second time in 2 days. Climate change has increased the likelihood and severity of heatwave episodes across Europe, the UK's National Weather Service said. Burundian Public Security and Disaster Management Minister Alain Bunyoni met with the Turkish Interior Minister Süleyman Soylu in Ankara yesterday. A French inventor failed in his attempt to cross the English Channel on a jet-powered flyboat. Frankie Zapata, a former jet ski champion, was hoping to cross from northern France to southern England in just 20 minutes, but the 40-year-old fell into the water halfway across as he tried to land on the boat to refuel. He took off from near Calais on Thursday morning and was heading for St. Margaret's Bay in Dover. Mr. Zapata was not injured when he fell. Boris Johnson promised the beginning of a new golden age as he made his first common statement as Prime Minister. Speaking to MPs, Mr. Johnson said his government would throw itself into Brexit negotiations with energy. He said other arrangements for the Northern Ireland backstop were perfectly compatible with the Belfast Agreement, to which we are, of course, steadfastly committed. He said Michael Gove would make plans for no-deal Brexit a top priority. Despite emphasizing the importance of preparing for a no-deal, Mr. Johnson said he would much prefer to leave the European Union with a deal and added that he will work flat out to make it happen. People visited Donkey Museum in Maltenici village of Montenegro's Danilovgrad province last weekend. Reporters took interview with founder of the museum, Darko Salvegic. The museum dedicated to Montenegrin donkeys drew a strong interest, and it asks visitors to bring along apples and carrots to feed donkeys. Construction workers at the Hinkley Point C nuclear plant have set a new record for the largest concrete pour in the UK, EDF Energy said. The firm said the base of the first reactor being built in Somerset was completed, which will allow work to begin to the buildings above ground. The final 9,000 meter tube of concrete beat the previous record set by the Shard in London, a spokesman said. Former Chinese Premier Li Peng, who ordered martial law during the 1989 Tiananmen protests, died at the age of 90, state media announced. Li died on Monday evening in Beijing of an unexpected and specified illness. He served in several top officials in China in the 1980s and the 1990s, but he was best known as the Butcher of Beijing for his role in the Tiananmen Square crackdown on pro-democracy protesters in 1989. Soldiers killed hundreds of unarmed civilians. Li later defended his actions as necessary step. Kenya's donkey population is rapidly diminishing, according to a dramatically worded report recently issued by an animal rights group. The Nairobi-based Africa Network for Animal Welfare says that donkeys face a imminent and alarming extinction. It argues that since 4 commercial donkey abattoirs opened in 2016 in Kenya, a humongous number of donkeys are being slaughtered on a daily basis. It estimates that 410 donkeys are being killed every weekday. Animal Welfare says that the demand for donkey skin comes from China. A virus hit a website belonging to Johannesburg's electricity supply, City Power, meaning people can't buy electricity, leaving hundreds of customers in the dark. City Power said that the virus encrypted its entire database and network. The company warned residents on social media that customers won't be able to access the website, buy electricity or upload invoices until all affected applications have been rebuilt. The ransomware virus prevents users from accessing the system and demands a payment in order to regain access. Johannesburg is already prone to power cuts, and the current cold weather has been putting the power supplies under strain, says the state-owned power utility Eskom. Zimbabwe's Anti-Corruption Commission has confirmed that the country's tourism minister, Priscilla Mufulira, is in custody for questioning. Zimbabwe's Environment, Tourism and Hospitalities Industry Minister, Mufulira, was arrested Thursday over alleged corruption charges while at the helm of National Social Security Authority. We can confirm that the Minister of Tourism is currently in our custody for questioning and possible due processes. We cannot respond to any questions at the moment, as this is the live process. The press will be informed through a release later in the day. We will keep updating. Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission stated on Twitter, it is not clear why she is being held, but local media report that it is connection with her time as Minister of Social Services. Japanese car giant Nissan has said it will cut 12,500 jobs around the world, more than double the amount previously announced. It will reduce its production capacity and the number of models it's produced by 10% by the end of 2022, but it did not say where the cuts will fall. It comes as the firm tries to shore up its finances amid weakening sales. Union sources say they will hopefully Nissan's Sunderland car plant would escape the cuts. In May, it announced job losses of 4,800, which are included in the new total. Palestinian's President Mahmoud Abbas on Thursday evening announced that all agreements signed with Israel have been suspended. Mechanisms will be set in order to implement the decision, Abbas said after a meeting of the Palestinian Liberation Organization in Ramallah city of the occupied West Bank. We will not bow to dictates and imposing a feint and comply by force in Jerusalem and elsewhere, he said, apparently in reference to Israeli government's recent demolition of dozens of Palestinian houses in occupied East Jerusalem. The Palestinian president said the move comes after the instance of the Israeli Occupation Authority to ignore the signed agreements with the Palestinian side. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said that Russia's move allowing visa-free travel to Turkish citizens was a fruit of their friendly relations. The Russian move allowing visa-free travel to Turkish citizens is a result of warm relations and dialogue, Mr. Erdogan said, addressing a joint news conference with Malaysian Prime Minister Mahathir bin Mohamad. Under a decree signed by Russian President Vladimir Putin, Turkish holders of special and service passports paying short-term visit to Russia will no longer need to obtain visas. The delivery of the first batch of Russian S-400 defense system equipment to Murat Air Base in capital Ankara was completed on July 25th. The National Defense Ministry said the second batch of the Russian S-400 missiles defense system equipment is expected to be delivered to Turkish capital Ankara. Colonel Tamer Zincir said during a press conference on Thursday. The delivery of S-400 components began on July 12th and is set to continue throughout April 2020. Turkey and the US have been at odds over the S-400 purchase, and Washington claiming incompatibility with NATO systems and threatening sanctions, while Ankara denies this but promises any sanctions will be met in kind. Defense Minister Hulusi Akar met with Turkey's top military officials on Thursday to give a briefing on recent talks with the US officials on a possible operation in the east of Euphrates River. The National Defense Ministry quoted Hulusi Akar as saying during the meeting that we expressed all our views and proposals to the delegation. We expect them to review these proposals and give their answers immediately, Mr. Akar said. Early this week, Akar and James Jeffrey, the U.S. envoy to Syria, met in the capital Ankara and exchanged views. Military officials from both sides said they agreed on establishment of a safe zone in the northern Syria. People were seen cooling themselves off at a fountain in Rotterdam, the Netherlands yesterday. The Netherlands saw its hottest day in 75 years on Wednesday, said the Royal Netherlands Meteorological Institute. The Dutch orange alarm will continue through Saturday due to the heatwave, said authorities. The first group of the prospective pilgrims from the Gaza Strip yesterday headed towards the Islamic holy cities of Mecca and Medina for the upcoming annual Hajj, passing through the Rafah border gate for the first time in 4 years. The pilgrims were tearfully farewelled by their relatives as they left for the sacred cities. The site of Rafah is the only window to the world for people who live under the Israeli blockade. Turkey has become a favorite destination for foreign students thanks to its cultural, religious, and economic strength besides geographical location. Currently, more than 148,000 foreign students are studying in the country, according to the Presidency for Turks Abroad and Related Communities, YTB. As many as 25,000 of them are studying on scholarships. Over past 10 years, there has been 75% increase in the number of foreign students coming to Turkey as a result of growing number of outstanding higher education facilities. Most of those students preferring to study in Turkish institutions come from Asia, Africa, and the Balkans. Talking to Anadolu Agency, a postgraduate student from Albania, Ferdinand Hasmuka, said he chose Turkey to pursue education for the country's rich past and heritage. Turkey is a world center where civilizations meet. The country is rich and it is the meeting place of the cultures of Islam, Ottoman, and the Mesopotamian, he said. Malaysian Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad received an honorary doctorate degree from Ankara Yildirim Beyazıt University, a ceremony which was attended yesterday by head of Turkey's Council of Higher Education, Professor Dr. Yektash Saraç, and Ankara Yildirim Beyazıt University Rector Ibrahim Aydinli at the Turkey's Council of Higher Education headquarters in the capital of Ankara. A member of the Nigeria Air Force who returned a lost parcel containing 37,000 euros cash received a 2-rank promotion as part of his reward. Bashir Omar had been on patrol duties with other colleagues at an airport in the northern state of Kano when he discovered the cash. He then called the phone number that was written on the package and returned the cash to the owner. He was promoted from aircraftman to the rank of corporal, a promotion that should have taken him 10 years to achieve, according to the news agency of Nigeria. He was also given a letter of commendation at Thursday's evening where he was honored. Amir Marshal, the Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, said Mr. Omar displayed an uncommon act of integrity by returning the money to the owner. Mr. Omar, who was present at the event with his parents, said returning the money was part of the discipline he got from home and in the service. Hippolyte Ntigurirwa has just completed a 100-day walk across Rwanda to mark the 25th anniversary of the genocide. At that time, when he was 7 years old, he saw his father being murdered. Each day of his walk represented a day when the killing took place. About 1 million people were slaughtered by ethnic Hutu extremists. They were targeting members of the minority Tutsi community, as well as their political opponents, irrespective of their ethnic origin. I did the walk to remember and invited people to seek peace, Mr. Ntigurirwa told reporters. He was joined by people who had forgiven those who had killed their family members, as well as some perpetrators. His trek also helped him to heal. I've walked all across the country and no one asked me whether I am a Tutsi or a Hutu. They saw me as a human being and they saw me as a Rwandan, Ntigurirwa said. An Indian MP who spoke in parliament about how he was sexually molested as a child has forced into the spotlight a topic that is still widely considered a taboo. Derek O'Brien of the Trinamool Congress Party recounted the incident in the Rajya Sabha, the upper house, on Wednesday while participating in a debate to amend the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences law. Mr. O'Brien, who is 58 years old, said the incident took place when he was 13. He said it happened when he had boarded a crowded bus in Kolkata after tennis practice and that he was wearing short pants and t-shirt. He recalled, "I was sexually molested. Someone ejaculated on my shorts. I don't know who." The MP said he didn't speak to anyone about it for 6 or 7 years before finally telling his parents. Indian laws protect the identity of victims of child sexual abuse, but there have been instances where survivors have waived the right to anonymity and spoken about their trauma in public. Thank you so much for being with us. You can check our social media of Natural Television, or you can send us a message on our WhatsApp number written on your screen. Natural Television News from Ankara in Turkey. I am Sauda Mganga. See you soon.